Now, members of parliament continue to clash over the sugar report that was tabled on the floor of the House for a second time this week. Debate on the sugar report was temporarily halted on the floor of the National Assembly after it emerged that it could have been cleverly drafted not to implicate cabinet secretaries in the sugar scandal. One of the co-chairs of the joint committee that authored the report, Haji, spoke to my colleague Yusuf Ibrahim earlier on today.
The report is fantastic. The joint committee did some wonderful work on it. 99% of this report is what Kenyans wanted to hear, and we stand by that. I'm told some members are already attempting to rubbish the report, but this is going to be very dangerous, as any attempt to throw this report or to shut it down on the floor of the House would be met with resistance by majority of members, I am sure.
All right, so Yusuf Haji, one of the MPs in the Joint Committee of Trade and Agriculture, speaking earlier on to my colleague Yusuf Ibrahim, and of course he says that it will be very dangerous if members of parliament once again turn down or throw out this particular report by this committee. Remember, this was not the first time. It happened a few weeks ago when this very report once again was turned away, and the committee was asked to review some of the recommendations they had made. Let's now cross over live to Parliament buildings, where our senior political affairs reporter Duncan Haimba is on standby. Member of Parliament Dagoretti North Simba Arati for a reaction on the sugar probe report that was tabled in the National Assembly on Wednesday. Duncan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Akisa. Yes, and it's not only Dagoretti North Member of Parliament, Paul Simba Arati, but I also have an interesting member that I'll be talking to shortly after I'm done with the Honorable Arati. But I want to know why sugar, sugar that has literally refused to be sweet, now it continues to get bitter with every day, and on every time that the committee, the joint committee, sort of inches closer to calling it a day as far as the probe on contraband sugar is concerned, the more new twists and turns emerge. Now we have a joint committee of about 38 members. First of all, only 20 are said to have appended their signature on what was supposed to be the final report to be tabled in the House. And then we understand that one of the chairs, it's not yet clear who, is said to have tampered or altered the wordings, and that is why now other members are up in arms. According to the chair that I spoke to, said that nothing much about the wording, because they had legal teams that told them what wordings were supposed to have been included. But the members are saying that document was not supposed to have been altered, and they don't know who among the two chairs did the alterations. Clearly, that tells you why the twists and turns continue. Mheshimiwa Arati, why are some of the members up in arms with the report that was tabled before the House that was supposed to have come up for debate yesterday?
You see, Hemba, what has happened is that we have been on this case of the sugar for 1.5 months. The first when we brought in the progress report, we were busted on the floor of the House, we left, and we promised the country that we were to give the country the findings of the committee. Up to Wednesday morning, I want to tell the country that we did our part in terms of finding out who is culpable in feeding and heading in the evasion of taxes, as well flooding the country, the sugar, which was not even fit for the consumption. Therefore, in the morning on Wednesday, we signed the document which all of us were in agreement. And I can tell you it was not easy, even out of the discussions we had in the committees, for us to agree on that common document. But finally we agreed that certain cabinet secretaries were to be held responsible for ignoring advices from their co-sister ministries in terms of what was supposed to be brought in. I remember we were supposed to consume 138,000 metric tons in the country at that time. They opened the window to bring in 1 million metric tons. that means that the sugar belt is dead. Employment is lost. Therefore, we find out we had indicted 3 individuals. One, Rotich, as an individual, because he's the one who gave suspicious gazette notices to bring in that sugar. 2, Adan, of industrialization. For him to have not taken proper measures in terms of supervising the sugar that people they are consuming in the country. Another person we brought in is Will Bet. For him to have allowed some companies to bring sugar outside the window period of the free duty. Therefore, when we find out that there is somebody after we have signed, he goes ahead to doctor the document, it changed the whole meaning. Therefore, we stood up, we got with the speaker, and we thanked the speaker because he listened to us. When we showed him the 0 draft that we had, compared with what he had received in the House, it was a different 2 documents. Therefore, we agreed that that specific amendments, 3 amendments, should be inserted to its original document.
So who did the alterations? Because if members had signed, at what point were alterations made?
This is the time that these people they were doing the printing. Therefore, we believe that somebody must have sneaked in, spoke to those people who were printing, and did a complete change to get off the hook the 3 gentlemen we had indicted in this document. So
does it mean if nothing changes, the committee, it was a joint committee, will you disown the report in its totality, or in the event that the recommendations that you've said they must be reverted back to the original form, if that doesn't happen, what happens come next week?
I'm told, and I want to just to caution the Kenyans, that I'm told there are people who have now prepared to come and throw out the whole document simply because of the strong cartels, strong people who brought in the sugar, who are lined up with the same individuals in Parliament to throw out the document. But we want to ask the Kenyans to be cautious, to be at the watch out, to see how things are moving on.
Well, thank you very much. That is a member of that joint committee. Now, I have Honorable Silas Tiren from Moiben. Remember that initially he was the one who was supposed to have been the chair of that agriculture committee, who elected, but there was another drama on how they were hounded, and he's among the persons who had said that he believed then that they were throwing him out because of interest, and he's the first person who talked about illegal importation of illegal sugar outside the duty-free period. Mheshimiwa, do you still hold that position that this is what exactly you said, or rather you've been vindicated?
Well. Thank you very much, Duncan. I would say it is good that your memory is quite clear, and I said that, and I have now been vindicated because you see now it has come to pass. Everything I said has become true, and of course, for sure, you can see now the very strong cartel. I think now every Kenyan has known why they did not want me to be the chair, because I think they knew what they were doing. And you can see even when these documents are being doctored, you can see the same chairmen that were not, if you look at it, were the same chairmen that were selected, if I may put it. But anyway, that has come to, well, we cannot keep talking about that, but I want Kenyans to see. And I remember saying that time very clearly that Kenyans will judge us very harshly. I hope Kenyans are with me, and I hope Kenyans are seeing exactly what is going on. What we are saying is that these few people, or these cartels who are really trying to look for ways of making sure the truth does not come out, you've now heard that they want to make sure they throw out the entire report. And I want to say the report is correct, the report is excellent, but just about the area that was changed. Because the 38 members, we had made sure everything had been done and had been put correctly. So if there was anything that needed to have been changed, they should have called all the members and addressed the issue that they feel that needs to be changed, which was not done. So it is so shocking, and I would say it is even, I don't know how to put it, because if you've put your signature, and members of parliament have signed the document, and they realize now that the document that was tabled in parliament is different from what they signed. What is that? What do you call that? So we want the chairs to come and explain, not only to the members, but also to Kenyans, that what drive them, what agenda are they looking for? What agenda do they want? What is it that they want? And you remember very well, and I want to take you back a little bit. When we did our first report, and when it was mentioned that there were issues that had been raised, and we think those things we should go with that, we were still given more time. When the report came that there was mercury, copper, and lead in samples that were found, we were given another 7 days to continue with the report. So you can see that maybe this report was supposed to end in a particular way, which it has not ended. They are struggling, the cartels are struggling so hard to make sure this report is thrown out. But we will work so hard and want to tell Kenyans that we don't want Kenyans to have problems. Have the part that did not pass. The 60% of the sugar did not pass in terms of moisture. That means most of the sugar is bad and should be destroyed.
Akisa, I know we have time constraints, but that is Moiben, Member of Parliament, Silas Tiren, who says, well, he said it, he's been vindicated, and promises that he's going back to the Rift Valley, specifically Uasin Gishu, on Monday, where he will revive now that question of NCPB farmers in the North Rift region that still have their maize. They are yet to sell. The new season is almost here in a month's time or so. They will be starting to harvest. And he says that no money has been factored in to buy maize or cereals from farmers, which he says this could be another problem. We'll be keeping an eye on that story as it develops. From Parliament, my name is Duncan Haimba. Over to you.
Duncan, thank you. The politics of sugar definitely heating up in the country. Of course, it will be interesting to see how things pan out in the coming week. I want us to take a quick break. We still have a lot more Landa for you here on KTN News Desk, so don't go too far.